First, I want to give praise and honor to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I would like to thank Barry Alvarez, our AD, Chris McIntosh, the Board of Regents, and Paul for this great opportunity. I'm thrilled to be named the OC for the Wisconsin Badgers. I'm excited. I'm grateful to be a part of a program with such a strong tradition. And this has been great this first week working with the coaches and getting to know the players. I've sat down and talked to quite a few of them, and I love the excitement and the energy that everybody's bringing right now. So I'll open up it to questions now.
Bobby, I have a fairly basic question for you to start. Can you share what exactly your responsibilities will be as offensive coordinator? Will you be calling the plays, and what position group will you be coaching?
Well, I think as a coordinator, I'm going to be involved in all aspects of the game plan. And we're still working and talking through in terms of, that's a question for Paul in terms of positions and where we'll be. I think there's still some things to solidify on the staff. And as far as play calling, I've been around many places, so there's different ways to do it. Again, I will be involved in all aspects of the game plan, and we will have some really good plays called. And it'll be a collaborative effort, and we'll be working together. And the main thing is to have a great plan where we can move the ball and score points and help us win football games.
Bobby, you've obviously had a recruit when you were at Pittsburgh with Paul. You haven't had a recruit per se in the NFL. What strengths do you think you can bring as a recruiter, and do you know which area of the country that you'll be recruiting in yet?
Yeah, I do not know the area yet, but, my strengths as a recruiter would be just, kind of my track record and what I've done. But you get to, recruiting is just a process. I think just having a process and a procedure, the main thing is getting to know the young men, really understanding who they are and making sure they are a fit, because not all great players might not be a fit, and just it will be an honest approach. It will be an open approach and letting people know what Wisconsin is about. And again, it's about trying to find the right fit, the right young men to bring into this program offensively that's going to help us. Or in my area, if there's a defensive player, it's, passing them over to the defensive staff and doing all of the legwork there. But I think communication, follow-up, and just being persistent and just really articulating who we are and what we're about so that guys really understand, what Wisconsin football has to offer.
Bobby, you mentioned before, obviously, the goal is to dial up some great plays. I know you've got a lot going on, so I'm not sure how much you've had a chance yet to study the offense. But from what you've seen and what you expect, in what ways do you think you can kind of expand the offense, particularly in the passing game, which is an area that has struggled a bit in the last couple of years?
All right. I think that, change comes – I think the change will come from really what our players can do. My approach, and I think our philosophy as coaches is going to be – what can our players do well? And I think that's where it starts. Obviously, there's a strong tradition here, had a lot of great offenses in running the football. And I think just coming from the NFL and my experiences, just bring a fresh perspective, bring some new ideas. But again, it's going to be a collaborative effort that I think really should be player-driven, because we got some young guys. I know they're talented guys. I have not had a chance to really watch a lot of film yet in terms of studying it. I've watched games. But really, I'm looking forward to that whenever this first week settles down, so I can really get into the film and study our personnel and see who guys are and what they do well and accentuate their strengths. But I think it's player-driven, the changes.
You mentioned getting to know the players and what their strengths and weaknesses are. What will you, once spring football comes around, after you've had a chance to look at some tape, what will you try to do in order to find out even more about what your quarterbacks can do, what your tight ends can do, wide receivers, running backs, so you have a good handle going into camp how you can tailor things?
Well, I think after the spring, hopefully I will have a good idea of what they can do, being with them day in and day out for 15 practices and meetings. And then the natural progression for that is how we grow the offense. I think that, again, the players, what they can do, and then the natural progression of how players improve, just always keeping a pulse on how guys are getting better. And that's why we practice, right? That's the goal. So we have to be able to monitor that and take advantage of that.
Bobby, you coached under both Jim and John Harbaugh. How much of an impact have both of those guys made on you during your coaching career?
Yeah, Jim and John has had a great impact. Jim gave me my first opportunity to coach when he was with the 49ers, and I've spent the last 8 years with John in Baltimore. Both of them had a very strong impact on me as a coach. I've been fortunate to be around two really good head coaches and two guys that they're intense. They pride themselves on preparation and winning, and I've been able to take a lot from both of those guys and carry that over into my coaching.
Colton Bartholomew from the Wisconsin State Journal. When you look at your career, you moved positions with the Baltimore Ravens. Now you're going to a new challenge with the offensive coordinator position. What kind of challenges do you envision just expanding what you've done in your coaching career so far here?
That's a good question. I think just figuring out, again, it's about the players and what we need to do to get them better. So the challenges will be as a staff for us putting together the very best game plan every week. But I'm really looking forward to this spring. So when you're around guys day in and day out, in the meeting room, in the classroom, watching them work out and on the field, you get a great sense of who they are and then, again, what they can do. And everything we're doing is pointing towards winning football games. So that will be the initial challenge, and then the challenges of game planning week in and week out versus our opponents. So, but that excites me. That's what we love as coaches, the strategy and the planning and figuring out a way to win games.
Bobby, you're going to get a chance to coach your son for the first time. What's that going to be like? And also, can you give us a scouting report of him as a wide receiver?
Good question. Yeah, it's a pretty unique experience. First, I'm real proud of Dean, just how hard he's worked in this program and how he's been able to overcome some adversity that he's had in his life. But I'm excited about coaching him, and I think it'll be unique in the fact that we'll be around each other day in and day out on the field. I've never coached him in terms of him being on an organized team. I've always taken my boys out and their friends. I've done football drills, footwork, catching drills, so that's always been fun. But I'm looking forward to that. As far as the scouting report, we'll have to see what he has. But quick, got some good speed, toughness, great ball skills. He can really track the ball. But that wasn't a foregone conclusion. That was a decision that, and I know it seems like obvious, but it really wasn't. It was, it had to come from Paul. It had to be from Dean. It had to be natural and organic, and it had to be something that fit the program. And it checks all of those boxes, so I think it's the right thing to do for the team.
Bobby, there were some reports connecting Wisconsin to Caleb Williams. And I know that you have a relationship with him. Can you shed some light on that? Did you think you had a pretty good chance? How close did that come to becoming a done deal?
The relationship was intact long before any of the transfer portal. And that just, the timing of it, I think people really linked us together more than what it might have been. But in terms of the relationship, I got great respect for Caleb, love his family, his father, Carl's mother, Dana. So the relationship was because of us being down and us going to battle and playing a lot of football games together. But I think, Wisconsin as a program, you look at, and with the portal now, I think you look at any great player that becomes available that's interested in you have to look at him. But I'm happy for Caleb, where he is, and I think that's a great move for him. And I'm really excited about the guys that we have, and I'm ready to get to work.
You spent 2 seasons working alongside Paul at Pitt several years back, obviously. What did you learn about him from working with him that you think this will be a good marriage? Because you said before, obviously, it'll be a collaborative situation. Mm-hmm. How do you think that relationship will work based on your previous relationship?
Well, I think number one is Paul and his approach and how he deals with the players. I think he really enjoys being around the players and coaching them. Offensively, he's done some really good things, great things, over the course of his coaching career. And I think philosophically, it's a good fit. The way they run the ball, what I've been exposed to as a player and as a coach, I really believe in running the football and being able to assert yourself there. So I'm excited. We have a great personal relationship. So I just look forward to the next chapter here and building that with him and the entire staff at Wisconsin.
Bobby, you were at Pitt for a couple of years, and you're in the NFL for the past 8. Going from and establishing relationships with players, do you have to plan on a transition of going from NFL veterans like Mike Wallace, Mark Andrews, Steve Smith, Sr., and then going back to the college game? Is there any difference in how you approach mentoring players?
Yes, because I think where they are in their lives, these are young men, and those were guys who kind of went through that path, and they were men. Were men with families and a career. So I think there's a certain a different approach, but yet it's similar just in how you deal with people. I love the players. I love getting to know them personally. I love the teaching, the coaching aspect, and building that relationship. So it'll be the same in that respect. But I think the difference is where they are in their journey as men.
Bobby, you mentioned the transfer portal, and coaches know this is a business, especially someone who's coached in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm guessing your quarterbacks who you'll be working with probably were aware of the stories and the linking of Caleb Williams and will he come here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you anticipate, maybe you have already, sitting down with the quarterbacks, especially your returning starter, and say, hey, you're my guy, we're going with this, or do you anticipate any issues there?
No, I've already talked to Graham, talked to Chase. Those guys are good. We're all good. They understand the nature of college football now and certain things we cannot control. But they know they're excited, I'm excited, and we're ready to go to work.
Bobby, you're the first African American to hold the position of offensive coordinator at Wisconsin, especially given all the conversation about African American opportunities in coaching. What does it mean to you to be the first here at Wisconsin?
It means everything. It's humbling, and I'm grateful again for the opportunity, but it means a lot, and I'm thankful to be in this position. And it's been a lot of coaches that have gone before me that have worked really hard and done well to give me this opportunity. And, give credit to Paul, to Wisconsin. I think the motto here is forward, right? Forever forward. And I think this is a great example of not just talk, something not just being a slogan, but, real people grasping that and giving an opportunity to do something different. So I'm excited and I'm grateful to be in this spot.
So, Bobby, being an assistant in the NFL for so long, did you ever anticipate coming back to the college game, and just how did those conversations start with Paul to get to the point now where you're an offensive coordinator?
Yeah, I don't think you ever close off any door. It was not a move that I was looking to make. I really enjoyed the NFL. I was in a great organization. I was growing. I was given the opportunity to move from the wide receivers to the tight end, and that helped my growth, exponentially. But again, this was an opportunity, and I think the timing of it and the fit, just what I know about the program and the tradition, my relationship with Paul, the opportunity for me to take that next step in my career. So, everything just kind of aligned, and I think this is the right time, and I think it's a great fit for both sides.
Bobby, you competed against this program, and now you've had a son in this program for a couple of years. What do you think is possible, just as relative outsiders so far now coming into it? What do you think is possible for this program?
I mean, you guys have seen this team for a lot longer up close than I have. I think, winning a championship is possible, and that's the goal. That's why we're all in it. We got some work to do, but there's a lot of good pieces in place here, and, just being around for the first week, I love what I'm seeing, the camaraderie, the way the guys are working, the intensity of the program. How can you not be excited about being a part of that?